Today's video, taking about 10 minutes to do simple sawhorses that you can use in your shop or out on the job site. Super duper strong. You can sit on them, you can lay on them, you can do whatever you gotta do. They hold hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and when you're done, they can stack right up in the corner of your shop and take up only the footprint of one of the sawhorses as you stack them up in the corner, and they stay out of your way. All right, let's get cracking on this. Okay, so we're gonna keep this pretty simple here to make these sawhorses. It's not difficult at all. We're gonna be using regular standard 2x4s, pretty cheap building material. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start cutting all the pieces, and we're gonna use 30 inches. So I'm gonna set a stop block because we're gonna cut 7 pieces for each one of these sawhorses. So we're gonna make a mark of 30 inches, set the stop block, and then we're gonna go to town cutting these until we get 7 pieces. Then we're gonna set them to the side, and we're gonna know that's one sawhorse. Okay, so we have our 7 pieces cut. 3 of them are going to make up the I-beam construction, and the other 4 are going to be the legs. First thing we want to do is set up the I-beam construction. If you're not familiar with I-beam construction, basically a lot of the houses today are built with LVLs. They're in an I-beam shape. We're going to make an I-beam construction of all 2x4s because we want this to be super strong. So our I-beam here is going to be made up of all this 2x4 material. I'm going to be using GRK 2.5 inch. These are basically self-tapping, self-drilling, and they have a bugle head on them that actually automatically countersinks. I'm going to make sure I'm flush here, and I'm going to clamp it down. Come to this side, line up my marks, make sure I'm flush, just like on the other side. Okay, so now I'm clamped in, and I'm basically ready to drive my screws. Okay, so what I'm going to do is drive 4 screws across the board here. So the first thing I'm going to do is start on the end because that is obviously the most visible place where I can get it completely centered. And I'm just going to stay away from the edge a little bit, about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches. Start to drive the screw. Countersink it down because this will be your top surface, where if you are using this as a sawhorse and not just like for finishing, you make sure that when you are cutting the board, your blade is not going to hit the top of the screw. So now I'm going to come to the other side, make sure I'm still good, nothing moved. Right there. And then if you don't feel comfortable sighting down the board and driving the screw, get your center mark again and just make a little tick mark where you can drive the screws. This way you know you're not going to miss. Now we'll just loosen the clamps. Now we're going to flip this over, and now you're more stable. What you're going to do to attach the legs is put them in there just like this. We're going to put 2 screws in the top over here, and then we're going to put 2 screws in over here, and then we're going to move to the other side, flip it over, do the other 2 legs, and then we have a sawhorse. So pretty simple. Now you can, if you want, use a spacer to get everything exact, or you can just measure in how far you want it. I'm going to go about 2 inches in, so I'm going to make a mark there. So in about 10 minutes, I made 2 of the sawhorses, and they are stackable. So they're only going to take up the footprint of one sawhorse in your shop, because you can stack these as high as you want, probably just about as high as you can reach. You probably get about 6 or 7 of them stacked high, and they're only going to take up that actual little space that the first sawhorse on the bottom is going to take up. You can see that these are super strong. I mean, they can totally hold your body weight, no problem. You can do whatever you got to do on them, so they're definitely going to be up to the task of putting some material on here, cutting it, finishing it, things like that. You can even throw a piece of plywood on top, and you can make a nice assembly table so that you can work on it if you don't have some kind of a workbench. You can use these and make them as high as about a 1/16 of an inch underneath your table saw top, and then what you can do is you can use that as an outfeed table temporarily. If you feel the need to do so, it will definitely hold a lot more weight and be much stronger if you put a gusset here. You know what? Let's do that right now. We're going to just take this and we're going to put the gusset somewhere down here. I'm going to give myself a spacer so that each time I put it in on the leg, I can just put this spacer right there to bring it down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is get it close to the end. Put my spacer just like that. I'm going to get this just close to the end as possible so I'm not wasting any material. I'm going to make sure that I'm up against this bottom piece here. I'm going to take my pencil and nice tight right there, I'm going to make a mark here. I'm going to make a mark here in the back, and then I'm going to pull it away, and you can see that I have my splay angle for the miter saw with these 2 marks. So now we can just cut a bunch of those pieces. And now we can just splice to this side. Just go back and mark, flip it over, flush it up on the ends with the other board right there, make a mark. So now what you can also do, you can sit on the sawhorse. Don't worry, it's not going to break, you're not that heavy. And take your spacer block, put your gusset up in place, keep it tight to your spacer block, set your distance equal for the legs. And as you hold it in place, tack that one side, tack the other side, and now when I get to this point here, I like to put my feet behind the legs, and that gives me a nice support back there for when you hammer it in. There you go, pull out your spacer block, get off the horse, get off your high horse. Your gussets super strong, and they still stack in place, except now, if you put the gussets, the only thing is they're going to be a little higher as you stack them. If you don't put the gussets in place, then these will stack, just like I showed you before, one on top of the other, and then you can probably get 6 or 7. With this, you can probably get about 5, maybe 6. You still move them all as one unit, and then when you need them, unstack them, and they are amazingly strong. So, if you need to take a break from the work you did, you can also just kick back and put your feet up. That's it for today's video on these simple sawhorses. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope that this helped you if you do need to build a pair of these for your workshop or out on the job site. They take just a few minutes to do. I made 2 of them in just about 10 minutes, and you can do the same because it's super simple. All right, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the little picture of a notification bell that's down there. That's going to notify you every time I upload a new video. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I have a video that I'm about to edit after this one. That is the built-ins for the closet. We're doing a whole entire walk-in closet. It's a little tight in space. It's hard to film in there. So what I did was I built the entire thing here in the shop, brought it in there piece by piece, and I tried to film a little bit from one corner before the whole thing was all trimmed out, because once I had both sides of the built-ins in, there was no way for me to fit the camera in there and get the angle that I needed so you can see. But it's a really good video, a lot of good tips in there and tricks, so definitely stay tuned for that. That should be coming next. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check the links in the description below also for all the tool links that I used, for my affiliate links on all those tools if you need to purchase any of the equipment that you see me using here. All right, guys, thanks for joining me in the shop. I'll see you next time.